Picture this. It's a normal morning until it isn't. A new virus shows up in one city, and within weeks, supply chains buckle. A cyberattack hits a power grid, and suddenly hospitals are on backup generators. A heat wave turns into a wildfire season, and then into an insurance and housing crisis. The pattern is the same. The shock arrives fast, and the consequences spread faster. So here's the question that decides who gets through it. When the unexpected hits, does a nation improvise, or does it already have an intelligence system for crisis? Not a plan in a binder, not a press conference. A living, real-time capability to detect weak signals, forecast what's next, and coordinate action before the damage multiplies. Today we're talking about crisis intelligence and why it's becoming the backbone of national resilience. This isn't just a tech topic. It's about trust, legitimacy, and survival in a world defined by volatility. Welcome back to the B.I channel, where data meets decisions. I'm Solon Hale, and for this conversation, we've got a genuinely global panel, people who sit at the intersection of strategy, AI transformation, governance, and ethics. Nakel Makima is a BI strategist and the founder of the BI channel. Dr. Lien Zhou is an APAC AI transformation expert who's seen real-time crisis systems deployed at scale. Maria Alvarez leads data governance efforts across LATAM, where community realities shape what resilience actually means. Jonas Richter is a European compliance and ethics specialist because crisis response without ethics can become a crisis of its own. And Aidan Vox is an AI futurist and emerging tech analyst focused on what's next and what's coming faster than we think. Nakel, welcome back. Set the stage for us. When you hear the phrase crisis intelligence, what do you mean?
I mean a national capability, something you can rely on under pressure, to notice early signals of disruption and move from detection to coordinated response quickly. It's not just reacting. It's seeing the crisis forming and deciding faster than the crisis can grow.
Dr. Zhou, from the APAC lens, does that definition match what you see on the ground?
Yes, and I'd add that speed is only possible when you build for real time. In many APAC contexts, you're dealing with earthquakes, typhoons, and dense urban systems. So you need platforms that can spot anomalies across regions and update decision-makers continuously, not once a day.
Maria, where does governance fit into this? Because a lot of people hear intelligence and think purely technical.
Governance is the difference between a powerful system and a chaotic one. Crisis intelligence pulls from hospitals, transportation, energy, financial systems, even social services. If the data isn't trusted, shared responsibly, and understood in context, you get false confidence. In some places you also have to recognize that the most relevant signals come from the community level, not just national dashboards.
Jonas, you've warned before that crisis response can go wrong even when it's effective. What does ethics add here?
It adds legitimacy. During crisis, governments may restrict movement, prioritize resources, or use surveillance tools. Without clear rules, fairness, accountability, transparency, you can solve one problem and create another: discrimination, abuse of power, or long-term loss of public trust.
Aidan, bring us into the future for a second. Where does AI actually sit inside crisis intelligence?
In the predictive layer. AI can detect patterns humans won't see, simulate scenarios at scale, and recommend actions, sometimes in minutes. But the key is, AI isn't the crisis manager. AI is a tool that can compress time, and time is the most precious resource during a crisis.
Okay, let's lock in the distinction. Crisis intelligence is not just emergency management. It's intelligence-driven resilience, sensing, predicting, coordinating, and doing all of that with accountability. Now I want to break this into an architecture, 5 layers. And as we go, I want listeners to imagine, if you're a policy leader, a public sector data lead, or a business that depends on national infrastructure, where are your gaps? Layer 1, early warning systems. Nakel, what counts as an early warning in practice?
It's weak signals. Things that look small until they don't. A subtle shift in emergency room intake, unusual shipping delays across a corridor, a spike in failed login attempts against government systems, or price anomalies in critical commodities. Early warning is pattern recognition plus the ability to escalate those signals to people who can act.
So not just collecting data, interpreting it and routing it. Layer 2, real-time monitoring networks. Dr. Zhou, paint that picture.
Think sensors, satellites, IoT devices, logistics telemetry, weather systems, grid monitoring, combined into national or regional dashboards. But the dashboard is the last mile. The core is the network, data pipelines that stay up under stress, models that update continuously, and shared visibility across agencies so you don't have 5 departments arguing over 5 different versions of reality.
That version of reality line matters. Because in a crisis, confusion multiplies. Layer 3, crisis simulation engines. Aiden, what are we talking about? Real simulations. Digital twins. What's hype and what's real?
Both exist. The real approach is building models that can run what if fast. What if a hurricane makes landfall here? What if this port closes for 10 days? What if the grid loses these substations? What if hospitals exceed capacity in these districts? Digital twins are one version, basically simulated replicas of systems like cities or supply chains. The point isn't perfect prediction. The point is rehearsal and decision support, so you're not inventing strategy mid-catastrophe.
Layer 4, coordinated response platforms. Maria, this is where data meets operations, right?
Exactly. You need systems that connect agencies, hospitals, emergency responders, logistics providers, and local governments. And you need workflows. Who requests resources, who approves, how it gets tracked, how citizens get updates, how misinformation is handled. Coordination is not a meeting. It's a platform plus process, tested before the emergency.
Layer 5, ethical crisis governance. Jonas, what does that look like when everything is moving fast?
It looks like pre-agreed rules and oversight that don't disappear during stress. Clear criteria for prioritization, audit logs on automated decisions, transparency about what data is used and why, and routes for redress when people are harmed by decisions. If you wait until the crisis to decide what's acceptable, you will make decisions you regret, and the public will remember.
So the 5 layers come together like this. Detect early, see the present in real time, simulate the near future, coordinate action, and govern ethically. That's crisis intelligence. Let's talk about power, because this changes the global pecking order in ways people don't always say out loud. How does crisis intelligence reshape national strength?
Recovery speed becomes competitive advantage. If you can take a hit and bounce back quickly, your economy stabilizes faster, your businesses retain confidence, and your institutions look competent. Over time, that attracts investment and talent.
And it protects public trust. In many countries, people judge the state during emergencies more than any other time. If support arrives fairly and information is credible, trust rises. If it's late, confusing, or biased, you don't just lose that crisis, you lose the next one too.
There's also continuity. A lot of crises are supply chain crises in disguise: food, medicine, fuel, semiconductors. Nations that can monitor and reroute flows quickly can keep factories running and services stable. That's strategic.
But the ethical side is part of power too. A government that responds effectively but violates rights can face backlash, lawsuits, and long-term legitimacy damage. Strength that relies on fear is fragile.
And prediction is leverage. Not because you're clairvoyant, but because if you're earlier than everyone else, you preposition resources, harden defenses, and reduce cascading failures. That gap, hours or days, can be the difference between disruption and disaster.
So crisis intelligence becomes a form of national strength. Speed, continuity, trust, legitimacy, and a bit of foresight. Let's go regional. Different parts of the world are building this in different ways, often shaped by their most common shocks. Dr. Zhou, start us off with APAC. Why does the region often get described as real-time responders?
Because the frequency of natural disasters and the density of infrastructure forces it. Many places have built rapid alerting, sensor-based monitoring, and cross-agency response habits. And they iterate. After each event, they update playbooks, improve data sharing, upgrade systems. The mindset is continuous readiness.
Jonas, Europe often frames resilience through rights and coordination. Is that fair?
Yes. Europe is very focused on cross-border cooperation, because crises cross borders, and on safeguards. You see strong emphasis on privacy, lawful basis, proportionality, and transparency. That can slow things down, but it also prevents reckless solutions that undermine democracy.
Aiden, North America as simulation leaders. What do you mean by that?
There's a deep ecosystem around modeling and simulation, defense, infrastructure, energy emergency management. The capability exists to run complex scenarios and integrate with planning. The challenge is often stitching those simulations into day-to-day operations and ensuring the outputs actually drive decisions, not just reports.
Maria, LATAM gets described as community intelligence. What does that look like beyond the slogan?
It means recognizing where the most accurate and urgent signals appear. Communities notice water issues, clinic overload, violence spikes, transport disruptions, often before national systems do. So crisis intelligence can't be only top-down. It has to include local reporting, local data stewardship, and feedback loops where communities actually see action from the data they provide.
And Nakel, bring us to Africa. Mobile First Resilience Network. Why mobile?
Because mobile infrastructure is often the most scalable connective tissue. It can support early alerts, coordination, digital cash transfers, community reporting, and rapid communication even where other systems are uneven. Mobile becomes a crisis backbone. But the real key is integrating those signals into national decision flows, not letting them stay fragmented.
Different regions, different strengths, but the same goal. Turn shock into a managed event instead of a cascade. Now let's zoom into the moment of crisis. It's happening. What does intelligence actually do, minute by minute, when the pressure is on?
It helps you allocate resources with evidence. AI can suggest fastest routes for supply delivery, highlight where infrastructure is failing, and flag where conditions are about to worsen. The win is faster prioritization.
And it helps you see who needs help first. Not just where the loudest complaints are. Data can reveal vulnerable populations, elderly, remote communities, informal settlements, so aid doesn't follow attention, it follows need.
Simulations help you choose among imperfect options. If you close this road, what happens to hospital access? If you reroute freight, which regions face shortages? When you can test strategies quickly, you reduce second-order damage.
Predictive models also help with timing. Many crises have a curve. Cases rise, winds shift, demand spikes. If you know where the curve is headed, you can act before the peak and avoid panic decisions at the worst possible moment.
And ethics ensures you don't sacrifice the same groups repeatedly. Crisis systems can accidentally encode bias, who gets flagged as risky, who gets denied services, who gets surveilled. Governance makes sure the response protects people, especially those with the least power to push back.
I want to underline that intelligence isn't just speed. It's also precision and fairness. Let's talk about failure modes. Because a lot of nations, organizations, and agencies think they're prepared until they discover they're not. What happens when crisis intelligence is weak or missing?
The obvious issue is delay. If information arrives late or doesn't connect across agencies, response becomes reactive. And reactive means you're always behind the wave.
You also get harmful decisions. Without safeguards, emergency powers can become blunt instruments. People can be unfairly restricted, targeted, or excluded from support. And once that trust breaks, compliance drops, then the crisis gets harder to manage.
Supply chains become uncontrollable. If you can't track what's happening in real time, you don't know where shortages will appear until they're already visible on store shelves or in hospitals.
And the danger is cascading failure. One disruption triggers another. Energy affects water, water affects health, health affects labor, labor affects logistics. Without models and coordination, those dominoes fall fast.
But the biggest loss is trust. In a crisis, people will tolerate inconvenience if they believe the system is competent and fair. If they don't believe that, even good interventions face resistance. Trust is the asset that makes every other action work.
So the cost of weak crisis intelligence isn't just higher damage. It's weaker legitimacy, weaker economics, weaker social cohesion. Let's leave listeners with a practical roadmap. If a nation, or any large public system, wants to build crisis intelligence, where do you start? Give me the building blocks, not the buzzwords.
First, establish early warning capabilities. That means defining what signals matter, building detection pipelines, and creating escalation paths that trigger action, not just alerts.
Second, integrate community-level data. If your system can't hear local reality, it will misread the situation. And invest in the governance that makes sharing safe and trustworthy across municipalities and agencies.
Third, set ethical crisis governance before the crisis. Define proportionality, transparency requirements, accountability mechanisms, and auditability for automated decisions. Build trust into the design.
Fourth, invest in real-time monitoring networks and resilient infrastructure, data architectures that keep working under stress. It's not glamorous, but it's what prevents blindness during disruption.
Fifth, develop simulation engines and decision support tools that can be used routinely, not only once disaster strikes. The best time to test your crisis models is on a quiet Tuesday, not during a major incident.
And I'll add one more connector. Practice. The systems don't matter if people don't know how to use them together. Exercises, drills, cross-agency protocols, because technology without coordination is just expensive confusion. Before we close, I want to pressure test one tension that always comes up. Speed versus rights. Central control versus local reality. Automation versus accountability. Is there a single principle you'd leave leaders with?
Design for human dignity under stress. If your crisis system can't explain itself and can't be challenged, it will eventually harm people, and then it will be rejected.
Don't mistake data volume for understanding. The best systems listen to communities and translate that into action quickly and fairly.
Build for continuous operation. Crisis intelligence isn't a feature you switch on. It's a capability you maintain.
Treat trust as a KPI. Measure it, protect it, and build systems that earn it during the hardest moments.
Assume the unexpected will happen, and we'll combine. The future is not single crises. It's stacked crises. Model that reality now.
That right there is the core message. Crisis intelligence is the foundation of national resilience. The nations that can sense early, predict realistically, coordinate fast, and govern ethically will shape the future. The ones that can't will be shaped by the shocks they didn't see coming. Thanks to our panel, Nakal Makima, Dr. Lien Zhou, Maria Alvarez, Jonas Richter, and Aidan Vox. And thank you for spending this hour with us on the BI channel, where data meets decisions.